All right. Well, thank you again, Derrick, for being with us. As I mentioned, you are the new executive director of Chief Seattle Club, and that's great. Congratulations. Glad to have you at the helm there. And we also are excited for some upcoming projects that Chief Seattle Club is working with Bellwether Housing on the North Seattle College campus.
Yeah.
So we would love it if you could tell us a little bit about those projects and maybe answer a few questions, and then we'll have more time at the end as well for a general conversation about it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that people can see you.
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Tom and Lee, for the invite. Glad to be here with you all. Thank you for joining me. So I executive director for Chief Seattle Club. I was appointed just a couple months ago. As you all may know, our former executive director stepped down to make a run for the mayor, Colleen Echo Hawk. Wish her well. She's got many opportunities, even though she fell a little short with the mayor race. But she's going to do well wherever she lands. So Chief Seattle Club, just so everybody don't know, I'll try to give a really brief synopsis of what Chief Seattle Club is. Historically, we've always been a day center, drop-in shelter for the most chronic homeless Native Americans in the Seattle area, urban Native Americans. Had the standard regular day drop-in center type of services, showers, meals, laundry, computers, rest area, those type of things. Last 7 years or so, under Colleen's leadership, we really expanded. We had a wide range of wraparound social services. We have mental health, reentry, domestic violence. We really try to provide a real holistic opportunities for healing for all of our members and our people that come. We have extensive social enterprise workforce development program called Native Works, where we pay members to make signature items that we turn and sell at the Pike Place Market or online or various museums, trying to get them in the Smithsonian as well. So anyways, but last thing, there was a need to actually develop housing. I'm sure everybody has heard the statistics, the disparities for the Native community. Native Americans make up 1% of the population, yet 15% of the homelessness rate. We make up 30% of the chronic homeless rate. And yet only 1% of the population. The other data statistics show that we're least likely to get services and help from other broad mainstream social service providers, housing providers, and the like. So we really made a conscientious effort several years ago to we're gonna have to build and develop ourselves. It's been an very uphill battle trying to get to the point where we are now. It's really hard to enter the low-income housing tax type development projects. Even after you have the property, there's a lot of things in place, but we finally got pushed through. Our first project right now is about 85% done. It's right next door to our headquarters in Pioneer Square. It's 80. We're going to have 80 units of studio apartments for the most chronic of our community. On the ground floor, there's going to be we're partnering with Seattle Indian Health Board is going to provide a full clinic there. We're also going to open up a cafe, expand our workforce development program by hopefully training our members to be baristas, and service industry stuff. So we're looking forward to that. That's actually opening up in October. So we'll actually be housing providers as of October. We're kind of scared and thrilled at the same time because there's a lot of compliance and trying to, make sure everything's right in order with low-income housing tax credit units. About that same time that we're wrapping up that one in October, we'll be breaking ground in our second project out in Lake City. That's somewhat more closer there to you all, but that's on Lake City Way. We'll break ground in October, and that's only going to be like a 12-month project because it's a prefab construction. It's kind of a pilot idea. It's basically they build panels off-site and they jigsaw the puzzle together on-site. So it really expedites the process. It's going to be 120 units of permanent supportive housing out there. So October of 2022, we'll actually have 200 units of housing stock for our Native community for targeting the chronic homeless population. Probably roughly around that time, we'll hopefully to break ground on our third project. That's where it's really relevant for y'all at Aurora there at North Seattle College. We're partnering a joint venture with Bellwether Housing. They're a great organization that's vast experience in low-income tax, low-income affordable housing. So we kind of just came about really lucky. They reached out and asked us if we wanted to go in on it. I guess North Seattle College has a lot of excess land, as you all know, probably. You can see that huge campus. They wanted to, contribute to the housing stock, the affordable housing stock we have here. So they put out an RFP. They liked our proposal that we went in with Bellwether. where we're going to provide 200 units of affordable housing targeting Native families and just families in general, really. And there was a stipulation with their RFP they wanted. They also wanted some community space so they could actually have access to as a school when they needed, and also something that the community could access when if they wanted as well. So we came up with the idea of developing a longhouse, a traditional Northwest Coast Salish longhouse. And so that's the plan out there in North Seattle College. We're going to probably, I think the current plans are 212 units, a mixed match of everything from 1 to 3 bedrooms, and it'll be a beautiful building, of course, and the longhouse. We're really excited about that for multiple reasons. I think it's really needed. Whenever we talk as Chief Seattle Club employees, when we go out and we're asked to speak at places, we always talk about the how ironic it is that Seattle's named after a great chief, but yet there's really no significant honoring and recognition of the indigenous people that have inhabited the land before colonialism. You go over just to Vancouver, and there's a really significant change there, right? That you go there, you can kind of see the respect and honoring of the indigenous land and the stewards before, right? And the current, not to say they're in the past, but yet Vancouver is named after a colonizer, but yet they do that. But so we kind of talk about that as Chief Seattle Club staff and employees. So we really want to bring that back to the area, to the city. Our current building now that we're actually constructing, we want to go beyond just making boring, affordable housing looking buildings. We want to actually make a stamp, make something proud, make something very honoring. Like we're doing really extensive brickwork in our on our first project that's about to wrap up, where we're going to have a 40-foot matriarch on the south facade. We're going to put in a welcome pole out there, and just really put some, we're saying, indigenize the space in Pioneer Square. And that's really what we want to do at the North Seattle College campus as well. And I think that's what the school wants. I think, the community would be appreciative of it. Our model, our mission at the Chief Seattle Club is to provide sacred space to nurture, affirm, and renew the spirit of our urban Native people. It's not about housing people. It's not about feeding people. It's really just to create sacred space for Native people to actually feel welcomed again, and that have a sense of belonging in a city that was once belonged to them. So that's really what we are. We believe in a holistic model. We believe in treating everything holistically. We provide programming on all of our affairs to actually, a medicine wheel concept that there's 4 sides to people, right? You have, your physical side, emotional side, mental health side, and spiritual side. And you kind of got to address all those areas to actually get somebody in balance. If you just address, the homelessness piece and give somebody a place to stay, you might address the physical side, but to work on that recidivism, you got to really heal the person and get them through the emotional piece and the spiritual side. And we provide a lot of traditional spiritual programming at Chief Seattle Club. That's what we're really interested in doing, the longhouse to provide some cultural activities. We just want to really bring back that sense of tradition. We know that's how we're going to heal our community and get over the trauma, the historical and intergenerational trauma that's been occurring for the past 500 years. We're really looking forward to it. It's like, I think that, there is some issues we're running into at North Seattle College. We've got some public input. It's kind of used, that space that we're going to build is kind of used as kind of a park, even though it's not a park. It's basically the southwest corner, west of the pea patch. So a lot of people walk dogs and we'll just stroll through the area. It's really beautiful and peaceful, and that's where we're going to build. So we are getting a little bit of issues there, but I think when the finished product's there and online, they're going to realize what we're bringing there as far as cultural piece and real rich in heritage and accessible for people. It's our culture. We don't believe in hoarding and keeping secret. We like to share. So there'll be community activities there. There'll be community events. We'll also probably have a space for like smaller nonprofits to come and have access to at affordable rate, that type of thing. And of course, the school wants to use the space to actually that's in line with the programming, their academic programming that would make sense. whether it be history or, anthropology type stuff or things like that. We're really welcoming of that. Yeah, we're just really excited about this project, just, even for the cultural traditional piece of what we're going to do with the Longhouse, but also just being by the school in general. Like, there's going to be so many access and chances for our community to thrive there. Another disparity that people don't talk about in our community is access to higher education in itself. And one of the biggest barriers is actually distance and location. So if you put, families like near right there on campus, that can eliminate that barrier right there. Also, access to jobs and retail. There's that Sky pedestrian bridge they're building that goes over the new light rail station over Northgate. That's going well. That's going to create a lot of access there as well. But that's really, in a nutshell, what what we're going to do out at North Seattle College. But we look forward to being partners with Aurora and doing everything we can to increase the safety and the beauty, and to actually just really just give a good sense of pride for the neighborhood and the community. And I think everybody's going to really be blown away when it's all said and done. We're going to do a lot of, just like we're doing our first building, we're going to do extensive artwork too. We want to put a welcome pole too out in front, just so people know. The Coast Salish don't use totem poles. It's one of the misconceptions. That's actually Alaskan, and up in northern BC. In this Coast Salish area, people use, like welcoming poles and stuff like that. So we're going to really keep true to the Coast Salish ways and try to really bring some of that rich Coast Salish culture back to the community.
That's great. Thanks, Derrick, for the summary of what's going to happen on the college campus. You mentioned this at the very end, being a welcoming place and working with Aurora, kind of fitting in. How do you see the two projects that you have planned here in the Licton Springs neighborhood as being contributing to Aurora and the neighborhood? And also, how do you see Aurora as a highway, an urban highway that has many different problems? How do you see that as being a limiting factor or a potential possibility of development or some sort of integration with the projects that you have on the college campus?
Yeah, I know that just bringing something there, it's something positive and healing. I don't know how other people, I don't want to fringe on other people's spirituality or if they don't have any or whatever, but I know just bringing that there and in itself, it'll be healing to the area, to the land, to just the surrounding area. I do know, aware of Aurora's issues. I've only been a Seattleite for like 13, 14 years maybe. And I've seen it ebb and flow I've seen it like almost get cleaned up, it felt like, and then kind of go back. And I from my perspective anyway. There is some concern about bringing, like from our end, thinking about families in that, and so close to Aurora, but we have total belief and faith that it's going to get back to where it should be. Because I researched your website and I do realize, it is a central like hub, if you are, major artery of the city, and it should get back to where and reach its glory where it should be. I will say about early pandemic this past year, we partnered with an organization called Just Care. Well, it's part of the Public Defenders Association, where they leased up a hotel and we put some of our relatives in it to get them through, to keep them socially distanced and isolated from one another, to keep them safe. And that was down, but it's on the south end of Aurora. It's what's called Wallingford Inn. And we had really worried about that. Like, what are we doing? Do we want to put our members in there so close to some of the problems that might trip them up? But I got to say that we had no issues of that. Not that we didn't have any issues with the members in there, because some of them did have IDs, but yeah, it was okay. We were impressed with it, and I think, I just think Aurora is really on the right track to get back. And the high needs people, those are the chronic, those are the target population of our first couple buildings. This one that we're going to build in North Seattle College is actually going to be targeting families.
That's awesome. Thank you. Really, really great to hear that you had a positive experience housing people in Aurora, because we know that sometimes that's not what everyone feels We have a
Yeah, well, I
question.
will say it was South Aurora, but you know where Wallingford Inn is, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't up the north where on the 100th or whatever. But
Yeah, it's a long highway and it's very different from section to
yeah,
section. But yeah, it's great to hear that you're bringing something positive to the Wisdom Springs section of Aurora. There's a question here in the chat, and I want to encourage people to either ask questions in the chat, share comments, or if you'd like to unmute, raise your hand. You'll find that in the reactions button on the bottom of the screen, raise hand button. And if you click that, I can unmute you in turn. The question here, though, from Brent is, what is affordable? How are you defining affordable? Is it average monthly income?
yeah. So affordable housing at this project will most likely be 30 and 60% AMI. It goes, it goes by that. 60% AMI is probably, I'd hate to say the wrong thing, but I'm thinking, it's not, it's probably somewhere around 60,000 a year, maybe, of a household of a two or something like that. Something roughly. You could Google, just the Seattle area AMI 2021. It'll give you the numbers, but it's good. It's set at 30%, 60%. Some of the units will be 30, some will be 60.
So a range for sure.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks. Any other questions for Derrick? I see Brock has his hand up.
Hi, Derrick. Really exciting project. I have a few questions. I work closely with the organization Housing Hope and Hope Works up in Snohomish County. Are you partnering with somebody on the workforce development side with retail, or is that going to be run out of your organization directly?
Yeah, we're going to do it internally, at least to start off with. If we run into hiccups, we've been actually taking a lot of advice stuff from oh my gosh, drawing a blank. The big one that does all the food stuff downtown.
Yeah, Fair Start.
Yeah, Fair Start. Yeah. So we've been taking a lot of advice from them, but yeah, we're going to try it and see if it, goes well.
That's really great.
It's really small. It's not going to be like a huge cafe. It's really just a small coffee joint. It's going to have all native indigenous, like wraps, same type of little wraps and stuff you'd see at any Starbucks type thing, but it'll be indigenous. It'll be like buffalo, wild rice, stuff like that.
That's neat. Not a follow-up question, totally different question. With the Robert Eaglestaff campus right next door, I know some of the previous educational opportunities that were tied for Native kids has been lost to a different campus, but are you hoping to bring some of that back to have some synergy between the two locations?
Absolutely. The organization that kind of lost out of there was called UNEA, Urban Native Education Alliance. And coincidentally, they're actually temporarily housed at North Seattle College right now. And one of our hopes, we're just playing around with this idea now, is to actually, when we get the longhouse built, is have them move in and they would finally have a permanent home and they can operate the longhouse functions and stuff themselves. Hopefully it all works out, but if not, we'll have to run it a while. But it's not really not our mission is to run an activity type of program of a longhouse. It's more, but yeah, they're great. The Native community is a little upset about how things turned out there. It doesn't seem like they really kept on to the, other than the murals themselves. But yeah, that group that worked out of there for a long time. Yeah, they're currently at North Seattle College now in a little office space. So,
okay, thank you.
That's great that everything's kind of coming together on campus there. Question that I see you already answered in the chat box from Tom, but I'll say it out loud for anyone watching the recording. Is there any chance of getting a Coast Salish related name on the footbridge, the pedestrian bridge over I-5 that goes from the North Seattle College campus to the new light rail station at Northgate? And I believe, I might be wrong on this, but I think the last email I saw from Councilmember Juarez said that there's already a vote scheduled. I don't think they've had the vote yet, but the vote is being scheduled, I think this week or next week, to name it the John Lewis Memorial Bridge. And I wonder, if you had any input, if anyone approached you around this idea of naming the bridge after an African-American activist, but maybe any person of color is kind of the going theme, I thought, when they first started talking about this.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm sure that discussion happened a long time ago when it was still an idea, maybe. So maybe Colleen, my predecessor, was on some of that, but we'd be more than thrilled and honored to have it. John Lewis is just as well as Bernie White Bear. I think they're on the right track. Of course, we would like to, wish it was somebody, Coast Salish. Right now at the Chief Seattle Club, where our first building downtown, it's named All, our first building, which is the Lashute word for home. Also, we renamed in front of our buildings, there's this little big triangle piece of the sidewalk. It's actually considered a little park. It's called Fortson Square. We actually got approval. We're going to rename that the Vi Hilbert Commons now. And Vi Hilbert was a Tulalip lady who was very influential of saving the Lashute language. All the people today were probably speaking fluently or semi-fluently. Owe a lot of honor and respect to this Vi Hilbert. So we're actually going to try to rename the section of Second Avenue Extension South, which is in front of the club. Also, we're in the process of trying to get that renamed to Vi Hilbert Way as well. So I mean, but we would love to actually. I'll ask about it. I'm actually meeting with Councilmember Juarez on Wednesday about something else, but I'll bring that up for sure.
That's great. I'm glad to hear you're changing some names down by the first physical location for Chief Seattle Club. And I wonder if it's too late, maybe not, but definitely bring that up with Councilmember Juarez, because I think she would be supportive of that.
Yeah, and since we're doing a joint venture with Bellwether, we don't, they kind of have more of a bureaucracy thing going on with the name. They're all for us renaming this future building something native of Lashute or something like that, but there's a process we got to go through. We'll probably have some public input too, so y'all probably be invited to that when that stage gets in there. Maybe come up with a name and then translate it into the Lashute or something, something like that. We're thinking.
That's great. Well, are there other questions for Derrick, either in the chat, or feel free to raise hand and unmute to ask your question or share a comment? I want to say it's great to hear about new developments happening anywhere along Aurora, but especially this one. Even though it's not directly on the corridor, we feel it's so close that it's going to impact the corridor positively. So really glad this is happening. Thank you for all your work to make it happen. And we would love to have you, weigh in the future, give us more thoughts and ideas on how you see Aurora benefiting the folks who will live in that building, and vice versa, how you see the folks who live in that building interacting with Aurora and benefiting the corridor itself.
Sounds like a plan. We'll stay in touch for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, Derrick. And if you have to jump off, I understand, but we're going to be talking about some of our upcoming events in the next month here.
Yeah, it's been a long one. I've been on since 6:30, so I'm going to hop off.
All right.
Thank you everybody for having me. It's been great.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.